we discuss how to mod a railroad in the grim dark future in today's video. Hey everyone, how's it going? I'm back with another special edition of Rail Rambling. I'll take this off. I'm not hoarding masks at all. That was something I purchased a couple years ago when I was drywalling my house, actually. So no doctor is going to want that mask. Kind of a special video today, kind of a unique video. We're in a unique situation. Somebody once said, may you live in interesting times, and we certainly are doing that. I wanted to talk about model railroading while under quarantine. It appears from everything that I'm seeing that we have several months to go before we are really kind of safely, before we can really safely kind of call ourselves out of the woods. And so I'm gonna be cooped up here in my house, in my basement. I have brought my work monitor home, and I've got a little setup going for me, so I'm ready to work out of my model railroad room. ScaleTrains.com released a video where they said that now's the perfect time to model, and I 100% agree with that. We can't leave the house, we can't go on vacations. We could do yard work, sure, but we can't really run down to the hardware store either, which kind of stinks for model railroading. But one thing that model railroading gives us is it gives us something to do to get away from the coronavirus and enter a world where it doesn't exist, right? And that's something I think we as model railroaders have been doing kind of all this time, honestly, is creating a little world for ourselves, kind of away from the hustle and bustle of everyday life. So, I've seen on Facebook a lot of model railroaders saying, like, model railroad quarantine. Us model railroaders have been preparing for this all our lives. I think there's a lot of truth to that. But I can't run down to the hardware store right now. Maybe I could. I think Lowe's is still open, but I'm not going to. I can't go down to the hardware store and buy hardware supplies from a model railroad. And I certainly don't feel comfortable spending money in the hobby right now, which sucks. It's one of those things where, like, I'm lucky my job is intact, but you never know where you'll be in a month, 2 months from now. And there's a lot of people who don't have that privilege. A lot of my local businesses, local restaurants, that kind of thing. So where I'm going to spend my money instead of in my hobby is going to be, I'm going to be spending it at my local pizza joint that I love very much, my local wing place that I love very much. Spending money in the community as opposed to in my basement, if that makes sense. Everyone's different. You may choose differently. But I'm also lucky enough in that I've got a lot of stuff already purchased, and so that I don't need to necessarily go out and buy stuff in the hobby right now. There's certainly a lot of this hobby is made up of vendors and manufacturers that are smaller, kind of one-person, two-person type affairs working out of their garage. Those people are going to need money during this time as well. I get it. I understand it. So everyone, your situation. You know where you want to spend your money, and if you can spend your money at this point. Well, let's just assume you're not going to be spending so much money in the hobby anymore, but you have a lot of time to work on your model railroad. Like, what can you be doing at this time? DJ from DJ Trains has a really good video. I'm going to link that in the show notes, the description below, and where he kind of goes over a lot of this. And I've been thinking about, like, myself, like what I could be doing to my model railroad room at this time. So here's some tips for working on your model railroad when under quarantine. So I think a lot of us have cars, and a lot of us have unweathered cars. My cars are all unweathered. Now's the perfect time to do that. I think weathering cars for a lot of us it's one of those things where, like, I'll get to it. I've got a lot of other stuff to do to get to the point where I can start worrying about the super detailing, weathering cars being part of that super detailing process. But now's the perfect time to do it. I'm sure you all have paints or most of you have paints, and maybe weathering some weathering powders, some pastel chalks, maybe some India ink. Just get out there and start working on weathering some cars. No more excuses. To not weather your cars. Let's go ahead and maybe start weathering some cars. Another thing we can be doing is just like cleaning and organizing the space. My space is really, really kind of disheveled at the moment, and I'm a little bit of a neat freak in that like I have a hard time working and a hard time concentrating in a dirty space. If I can clean up my model railroad room, it looks nicer, it looks more presentable. It's just like it looks more inspiring. It makes me it lets me see like what I need to work on, and it just inspires me to work even that much more. So for me personally, having a clean space is very beneficial from a productivity standpoint. And when you have people, you want to bring them down into your basement one day, maybe in the far future, we'll be able to bring people down to our basement again. We'll want to have a clean space for them. Another thing you can do is watch model railroad videos. Like I've got a couple. So I've got trainmasterstv.com over here. No, trainmasters.tv over here, which is model railroad hobbyist sort of videos site. And then I have Monorail Railroad Video Plus over here. Both of these are paid sites, and both of them are incredibly worth the money that you spend on it. Monorail Video Plus has hundreds and hundreds of hours of how-to videos and layout tours, and it's just so awesome. Oh, I mean, I've learned so much from these guys. Trainmasters TV has tons of great how-to videos as well, and they also have Mike Confalone's Allagash Railroad. They do a lot of videos on his railroad, which is a huge inspiration for what I'm working on now. It's basically the main inspiration for my railroad. So the two of these combined, you get so much out of it. Yes, you're spending money on it, but you're getting a ton back in what you get out of it. YouTube is great. I love YouTube. I love seeing everyone else's layouts and seeing what they're working on and seeing the updates. But I'm not a professional. I try to have a nicely edited video that looks and sounds good, but I am not a professional. And the last couple of videos I released, I try to make it very clear that I'm not a professional. I show you when I'm having trouble setting up an engine. I show you parts where I kind of screw up on a swing gate because I'm not a professional, and I want you to see all the flaws because we all do that, right? These guys right here, these are professionals, and you're going to get professional quality videos, and you're going to get professional tips and tricks from them. Highly recommend them. Really great way to pass the time. And I'll leave links to trainmasters.tv. They've got like a 30% off sale going right now on their videos, I think. So I'll leave a link to that as well in the description. You can check those out. All right. I think that's it. I feel like I'm starting to ramble, so I'm going to end this now. I'm going to continue to work on my video. Oh, that's the other thing. Stop the music. I'm going to continue working on videos for you guys and continue working on my layout. And I encourage you to do the same. Your last tip for today for things you can do under quarantine is put out some videos or post pictures to Instagram or Facebook or the blogs or wherever it is that you tend to post about your model railroad. Share your process with others. Inspire other people to get in the hobby. For me, these videos are meant to be that inspiration for people getting into the hobby and for myself as well. I get a lot of motivation out of making these videos for you, posting images on Instagram and that kind of thing. And I think we could all use a little bit of inspiration and a little bit of community. And I think through YouTube and through Instagram and Facebook, although I don't post on Facebook, we can find that community. And I think that's more important now than ever. So that would be my number one tip of things you can do under quarantine is just post about your own layout, post about your own research and the things you love in the hobby, and share that with others. I think it'll be very much appreciated. All right, now we can roll the music again. Oh man, thank you all for stopping by. Check out my Instagram feed. I've got a bunch of stuff up on there. Check out my blog too if you're interested about the construction of this layout and the research that went into getting me to where I am today. So thanks everyone. I will see you all in another Rail Ramblin'.